Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today on assignments. My name is Mairead O'Connor and I'm speaking to you from Galway in the west of Ireland. I've been teaching for over 20 years now, which I can hardly believe. And I'm all really excited for you all that you get to experience the joy of TEFL also. So as I said, today we're going to look at assignments. Because some of you will be doing different courses with us, we're not going to look individually at all of the assignments, but we're going to look at some pointers that you can apply to the assignments of whatever course you're currently studying with us. As always, we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. So if you have any questions about anything you see on the slides, just write it down and we will answer all of the questions at the end. All right, ready? Let's go. So you may be wondering, why do we have to do assignments? Well, for two main reasons. Firstly, our accreditation body need us to prove that what we're teaching you is working. So they give us strict criteria that we need to demonstrate that our students are achieving. Also, it's a really nice chance for you to apply the theory that you have learned. Okay, as you all know, it's one thing to read the information. It's another thing to apply it in a practical sense. So in these assignments, that's what you get the chance to do. Because you will be doing that once you start teaching. So usually on most courses, you will find the first assignment at the end of Unit 5. Okay, if it's different for your course, don't worry. When you come to your assignment, you'll see that there's a video with instructions. Okay, you've got to watch that video, because after you watch the video, then the assignments will be unlocked. All right. So you need to read the instructions first before you get access to the assignment. That can help make the thought of doing the assignment a lot less overwhelming when you already have an idea of what it's about. When the assignments page is unlocked, you'll see that you have all of the templates that you need for the assignment. I would definitely recommend that you create a folder on your laptop or PC, download all of the templates and keep them in that folder. Okay, we've got to be organized from the beginning, right? So when you access your assignment instructions, create your folder on your computer, download all of the templates into it, and that way you will keep all of your work together. Okay. The instructions for the assignments can be quite long at times. So if you ever need help with it, if you ever are uncertain as to what to do, don't suffer in silence. Okay, get in touch. I'm sure you're all familiar with the ticket system. Ticket here is just another name for question or query. So if you ever have a question about the instructions for assignments, send a ticket to tutor support. Okay, tutor support will help you with everything instruction related. You will see that all of the assignments will require you to submit materials. All right, whether it's worksheets, tasks, etc. When it comes to materials, everyone, please upload the actual worksheet or a visual, okay, not just a link to it. Okay, so if you find a really, really good worksheet online that you want to use, take a screenshot of it and include it in your assignment. Or if you can download it, do it and send it to us. Okay, it is not enough to just send us a web address. As I'm sure you'll appreciate, all of our markers around the world can be a bit reluctant to click on links that that they don't know. All right. So please include the actual worksheet, not just a link. Now, you do also need to provide a link, yeah, and that will go in your bibliography. Okay, a link to the material must also be provided if you have used a worksheet or task from a website. Okay, speaking of bibliographies, referencing is another key part of all of the assignments. You've got to reference all material that has been consulted or adapted for your assignment. All right. There will be a specific bibliography template for you to use. And there is also a really useful document called a referencing guide included with the assignments templates. So the referencing guide will tell you, how to reference a book, how to reference a website, how to reference visuals. So please do check out that referencing guide to keep you all on track. Okay. Once you have all of your assignment documents together, just before you submit, here are some things that you should check. You will find a checklist with all of the assignment instructions. Yeah, it'll be there with the templates. So, look at that checklist and go through your assignment. Make sure you're including everything you need to include. Remember we said before about creating a folder on your laptop or PC? Well, make sure that you save editable copies of your assignments on your computer. Okay, just on the off chance that you need to resubmit, it's a great idea to have copies on your PC that you can just, go back and alter for resubmission. Please remember that all files must be submitted in PDF format. Yeah, so while you will be working on the templates in Word, just before you submit, convert them to PDF. Okay, when you go to Save As, look down through the options and click PDF. Okay, if you accidentally submit your documents in Word format, just send a ticket to tutor support and we will reverse your submission. Okay, but your assignment cannot be marked unless it's in PDF format. Also, before you submit, please ensure that your documents are clearly labeled. You'll see in the assignment instructions that we have some naming conventions. Just you're putting your name, you're putting the name of the document, the submission, etc. This is important so that your marker can identify them easily. Also, just before you submit, okay, you can review or edit any file before you confirm it as your final submission. All right. So when you are absolutely sure, 100% positive that you want to submit, then you can click on Save Changes and off your assignment goes. All right. Now, it can happen sometimes that students submit an incomplete assignment. Okay, maybe they miss out a document, or maybe they forget to convert one file to PDF. Or maybe they submit a file that wasn't entirely ready to send. Well, if that happens, do not panic. Okay, first and foremost, never panic. All you have to do is send a ticket through to tutor support to request that your submission be reversed. Okay, so then in tutor support, we'll get your message and we will reverse your submission. And that means that you'll be able to go back, edit, remove files, add files, and submit again. All right. Okay. So once you have successfully submitted your assignment, you'll probably be wondering about the grading process, how it works. Well, first of all, let me reassure you that all of our graders are qualified and experienced EFL teachers. Okay, we follow a very, very strict marking rubric. Remember, we mentioned our accreditation body at the beginning. So they give us the marking criteria. Okay, so our markers know exactly what we're looking for. Okay. We're aiming for transparency and objectivity here. Yeah. And also be reassured that assignments are regularly moderated. So our accreditation body needs to see a certain percentage of all assignments and their markers feedback. Okay. And that's just to make sure that, everything is on track and as it should be. Okay. So yeah, just be assured that we have a very rigorous marking and moderation system in place. It can take usually between 5 and 7 working days for your work to be marked. So please factor this in to your time scale. They can be done quicker than 5 days, yeah, but usually it would be between 5 and 7 working days to get your work marked. When your marker grades your work, you'll receive an email telling you that feedback has been posted. Also keep an eye on your spam folder because some students have reported those emails going to spam rather than directly to inbox. So keep an eye in there too. When you get your email saying that grading has been posted or feedback has been posted, go to your dashboard, go to the icon up in the top right corner. Okay, click on it and you'll see a drop-down menu. Yeah, you want to go to the option that says grades. Okay, it's the third one there on the drop-down menu. Then just scroll down to the bottom of that page and you will see your feedback. Okay, our markers give extensive feedback on every submission. All right, so yeah, go to the icon in the top right, go to the drop-down menu, select grades, and you will find all of your feedback there. If you have difficulty finding it, again, just send a message along to Tutor Support and we'll help you. Now, it may be that your first submission is not entirely successful. Okay, if this is the case, please do not worry. Okay, I know it can be upsetting to be asked to resubmit, but genuinely, it is not the end of the world. Okay, so please don't panic. Please don't feel bad about it. You have 2 opportunities to resubmit. Okay, if you have to resubmit, your marker will give you extensive feedback telling you exactly what it is you need to fix. All right. As I said before, make sure that you keep copies of everything on your laptop or PC so that you still have the original files to work with and to amend. When you're finished making all of the changes indicated by your marker, you can then upload the new files with a new file name. Okay, so whereas your original submission was probably called submission 1, yeah, you will rename your files to indicate that this is now submission 2, yeah, or submission 3 if it goes that far. Okay, it's really important that you rename your files just to avoid confusion. So then go to the submission portal on the website and select Add New Attempt. All right, that's the option you want to go for. Then upload your files, yeah, all of the relevant files for the assignment, and click Save Changes. Okay, and then your resubmission will go back to your original marker. Okay. If you're having any issues understanding the feedback, or if you're having any issues resubmitting, again, just send a ticket to Tutor Support, okay? And we will be only too glad to help. So yeah, you will be getting feedback every step of the way, okay? If you pass on the first submission, awesome, congratulations. Your tutor will give you feedback on what you did well and on what needs improvement, okay? If you need to resubmit, as I said, your tutor will give you tons of feedback to let you know exactly what you need to change. Okay, so on the level 5 and the level 3 course, you will have to do a grammar assignment. Now, when it comes to the grammar assignments, you'll see that there is a model assignment provided. Okay. Please bear in mind that the model assignment is only there as a guide. Okay. It's to show you what an assignment should look like and the level of detail it should include. Okay. However, your assignment is based on a different grammatical point. Yeah. For example, in the level 5 grammar assignment, the model assignment is on the present perfect tense, but your actual assignment will be on the first conditional. Okay, so to reiterate, the model assignment is only there as a guide so that you can see what an assignment looks like. Okay, but your actual assignment will be on something different. When it comes to grammar assignments, it's really important that you consider your class. Okay, you'll be given a class profile, like an age and a level. Okay, so you've got to stick to that. If you'll be teaching teenagers, you've got to pick a context that would be interesting to teenagers. Yeah, or if you're teaching young learners, you've got to, pick something that would be engaging for young learners. Okay, language grading is also super important. You'll have to decrease the difficulty of the language you're using if you're teaching a lower level. So it's important that you bear that in mind in your assignments. The type of lesson can also play a big part. Are you planning a face-to-face lesson or are you planning an online lesson? There'll be different factors to consider depending on what you're doing there. So it's really important that you read all of the instructions and that you have it clear in your head. Okay, what age group am I teaching? What level are they? And is it a face-to-face or an online lesson? For the level 5 and level 3 grammar lesson, you'll be asked to plan a PPP lesson. Now, don't worry if you don't know what this is yet. Okay, you'll read a lot about this in the course material before you access the assignments. But in short, PPP stands for present, practice, produce. Okay, and a PPP lesson will always follow the same structure. Okay, so this is the structure you'll be aiming for. You will be setting a warmer, okay, some sort of an activity to create a context. Then there will be a presentation stage, okay. This is where you explain how you will elicit and concept check the form and function. We'll talk a little more about those terms later. Then there will be a controlled practice stage to focus on accuracy. Yeah, maybe it'll be a worksheet or a gap fill or a matching task. Then there will be a freer practice stage. Yeah, this will be a speaking task that will give students the chance to use the new language in an appropriate context. And finally, you will end with a plenary. Okay. We will try to check understanding of the form and function here. Yeah, it's just kind of a quick wrap-up stage to consolidate learning and make sure the students have understood. With all of these stages, yeah, you will be aiming to allocate your timing appropriately. Yeah, for example, a warmer would only take 5 minutes. Yeah, and a plenary also aim for about 5 minutes. Okay, the other stages you will see as you work through the course what would be the most suitable timing allocation. Okay, so a lot of students can get a little bit overwhelmed or daunted by teaching a grammar or by planning a grammar lesson plan. That's totally normal. It's always a bit scary at first. But really, the key to planning an effective grammar lesson is in research. Okay, it's all in the preparation. You've got to research your target form. As I said, for level 5, the target form is the first conditional. For level 3, it's the past continuous for interrupted actions. Okay, so before you attempt to start writing your lesson plan, okay, research your grammar point. Believe me, you will not be able to plan your lesson if you don't understand what your grammar point is all about. Okay, so get online or access some grammar resource books. Yeah, but do your research on your point before you start. This is really good practice for real life teaching because this is what we do day in, day out. Okay. If you are taking all of your information from websites, that's absolutely fine. But do be careful because some websites may have errors. Okay, so check that the information you're taking is correct. Yeah, maybe consult 5 or 6 different websites and, make sure that they're all saying the same thing. EFL websites with free resources can be super helpful here. I'll give you a list at the end. If you want to find some controlled practices like gap fills or matching tasks. We said this before, if you take any information from websites or YouTube videos or whatever, do make sure that you reference those sources in the bibliography. All right, so another typical type of lesson that you may have to do in your assignment is plan a reading lesson. Okay, I know in level 5 especially, assignment A is based all around a reading lesson. So when you're thinking about reading lessons, they will typically have 5 stages. There will be a warmer, as always. Then you will pre-teach some vocabulary. Okay, there will be a first reading task aimed at skimming and scanning. There will be a second reading task aimed at more detailed comprehension questions. And finally, there will be a follow-on speaking task. Okay, we say here discursive, we really mean speaking. All right, so they would be the 5 stages that you're aiming for in a reading lesson. Another feature of all of the assignments across all of the courses is that you need to include examples of teacher language. So in your teacher language section of the assignment, you have to use direct speech. Yeah, so you need to give us the exact words that you would say in the given scenario. You need to show us evidence of eliciting, concept checking, and instruction checking. Okay, that is common across all of the assignments. So let's take a look at what those terms mean, just so you're crystal clear. First of all, here is an example of what we mean by direct speech. Yeah, see down the side, we have teacher, student, teacher, teacher, student. We're giving the exact words spoken. Of course, we don't know exactly what real students would say, but we can predict. Okay, we want you to predict the student responses. So here's an example of eliciting. Imagine the teacher shows this picture here on the right. The teacher says, "How does the woman feel?" Students, "She is smiling, so happy." Teacher, "Yeah, she is very happy." What's another word for very happy? And the students maybe say, "Excited." And the teacher says, yes, that is the word I wanted. Okay, that's the word I'm teaching you. So yes, what other things might I be excited about? You won the lottery? That's a good example. I would be very excited if I'd won the lottery. All right. So this is what we mean by eliciting. Okay, we're leading our students down the path. All right, we want them to tell us the new word before we tell them. Okay, this is a key part of EFL teaching. Yeah, and we need you to demonstrate this in your teacher language. You'll read a lot about this in the course material. Okay, so once you have elicited, then it's time to concept check. Okay, this is where we figure out if the students have really understood the new word or not. So here are some examples of really good concept checking questions for the word excited. So, teacher, do you get excited to go to a party? Students, yes. How about going to the dentist? No. These are really good questions, because if the student says yes about being excited to go to the dentist, then we know, okay, maybe they haven't really grasped this, because it's not typical that someone would be excited for the dentist, right? I'm not saying it would never happen, but it wouldn't be typical. Then we have another couple of questions just to really consolidate. Is excited a good or a great feeling? Yeah. And hopefully our students will say, oh, it's better than good, it's great. Yeah. So then the teacher, to wrap up, can say something like, yes, being excited is a great feeling when we know that something good is going to happen. Okay. So you can see that we elicited the word and then we concept checked the word. Okay, that's the type of thing that you will be doing in your teacher language. All right. Another thing that you will need to do in your teacher language is show evidence of instruction checking questions. Yeah, also known as ICQs. So as the name suggests, in an instruction checking question, we want students to demonstrate that they understand exactly what they need to do. Do not ask, do you understand? Okay, do you understand is not an effective instruction checking question, because all of the students will say yes. Say, yes, teacher, yes, I understand. Okay, even if they don't. Because nobody wants to admit that they haven't understood something, right? So instead of asking, do you understand? We can do something like, so student A, can you repeat the instructions, please? Or student B, can you tell me in your own words what you have to do? Yeah. Or if the task has been longer and a little more complex, we can break it into questions. Like we can say, so student A, how many questions must you answer? Yeah. Student B, what do you have to write in the space? Yeah. Student C, how long do you have? Student D, are you working alone or in pairs? Yeah, these are the type of questions we want to ask for instruction checking questions. Okay, because yeah, believe me, when you're in the classroom for real, there is nothing worse than asking students to start a task and then just having to stop them and explain again and again and again. Yeah, so make sure they understand absolutely 100% what they need to do before they start. Okay, so that is it for teacher language. Yeah, you'll be showing evidence of eliciting, concept checking, and instruction checking questions. This will all be explained in the assignment instructions too. Okay. Another common point across assignments in all levels of the course involve authentic texts. Now, you're probably wondering what an authentic text is. Well, it is a text or a listening, yeah, either reading or listening text that has not been edited for an EFL classroom. Okay, it's something that is aimed at proficient speakers of English. Yeah, maybe it's something from a newspaper. Yeah, maybe it's something from a magazine. Maybe it's from a TED Talk. Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah, as long as it was originally produced in English for a native English speaking audience or a proficient speaker of English. Things to consider when choosing an authentic text include age. Yeah, so is the content of the text age appropriate? Yeah, level. Is it too easy? Is it too difficult? Yeah, consider the nationality and culture of your students. Yeah, is it something that is likely to be of general interest, or is it something more controversial that might offend? We want to avoid any possibility of offending our students. Okay, so we tend to steer clear of the more controversial issues. The text must be appropriate for students or the text must be appropriate for all students in the class. All right. So it's generally good to stick to, general interest topics such as travel, holidays, food, school, steer clear of the more controversial issues that may cause offense to your students. Okay. So we've looked at most of the broad categories there of things that crop up in assignments. Let's just finish up with some general hints that might help you as you tackle your assignments. When it comes to difficult vocabulary, either difficult teaching terminology, or words that you think will be too difficult for your students in a text, make sure to consult the TEFL course glossary for terminology, and a dictionary for any difficult vocabulary. Check that you have downloaded all of the documents before you start. Remember we talked about creating that folder? Make sure that you have everything ready to go. As I mentioned before, there is a checklist with the assignment instructions. There is also a document entitled How This Assignment is Assessed. So it's really important that you read those documents as they will guide you to the important information. Okay, preparation is key. Read everything before you start. Have a clear idea of what you're doing. Okay, finally, please make sure that you proofread your work thoroughly before submission. Okay, check your language carefully. Your English must be a higher level than the class being taught. So if you're teaching an advanced class, for example, you need to show that your own English is, completely up to standard for spelling, punctuation, grammar, etc. Read through everything twice and 3 times. Do a grammar and a spell check. And as always, if you don't understand something, ask for help. Okay, send a ticket to tutor support and we will explain anything you haven't understood. Okay, I know I keep mentioning tutor support. So normally anything to do with the academic content of the course or assignments, you will ask tutor support. But if you have any admin problems, like if you're running out of time on your enrollment, or if you can't log into the course, or if you can't access certain information, then you need to get in touch with admin support. I think we call them tutors. I think we call them student support on the ticket system. So please contact student support with any queries about extensions, logins, etc. If you're having any computer-related issues with templates or with the online platform, you can send your ticket to IT support. Okay, but the likelihood is that tutor support will be your main port of call for anything academic or assignment related. All right. Ooh, that was a whole lot of information, right? I'm sure you have tons of questions. I'm going to give you a minute to get your heads together and type in any questions you may have in the chat box. Okay. And while you're typing in your questions, I'm going to look at the comments and see where you all are. And see what questions have come in. All right. So hello, Emma, in the States, across the ocean from me. South Africa, lovely. We have a couple of people from South Africa. I'm sure it's much more pleasant weather-wise there than it is here. All right, so I can see some questions coming in already. So let's start working through from the top. So Ashley, even if you pass the first submission, does the marker still give feedback? Yes, Ashley, absolutely. Your marker will give tons of feedback, pointing out the things that you've done really well and the things that are in need of improvement. The feedback is really important because, you can then apply that to the next assignment and so on. All right, thank you, Ashley. Okay, so hi, Nikki. Hi, what is the pass mark percentage on each assignment? So Nikki, we don't really grade by percentage, okay? Instead, all of the markers have grading charts, grading rubrics, and you need to pass a certain set of criteria, okay? And if you pass those criteria, then you pass the assignment, or you get a merit, or you get a distinction, okay? All of the criteria are in the how this assignment is assessed document that you will find with the assignment templates. There's also an assessment handbook that you're given a link to at the start of the course, so you can definitely take a look there too. But there is no percentage as such. All right. Okay, thank you, Nikki. Oh, and another question. If you have to resubmit, do you have to do a new paper or resubmit the same one? So, Nikki, typically, if you need to resubmit, your tutor will tell you, oh, there's a problem with your teacher language document, or there's a problem with your lesson plan document. Okay, so then you'll go back to your original files, to your first submission files, and you'll make the changes directly onto those. Okay, so it may be that you only need to change one file, or maybe you need to change all of the files. It depends on your feedback. Okay, but you will then resubmit your amended assignment. Okay, but don't worry, your tutor will tell you exactly what needs to be done. Okay, so hi Ashley. When using images in your assignment in the table part of the assignment, do you put the image on the reference document and reference the image to which part of the assignment it is for? So are you referring here to assignment A in the level 5 course? Maybe you are. But if you're not, it doesn't matter. Just put all of your references in the bibliography. Okay. So if maybe you're showing the picture that you would use as part of your materials, you can put the picture in the assignment template, and just say, maybe I would use this image for the word excited, or I would use this image for the word branded clothes, and so you can put that in the assignment template, but then put the reference for the picture in the bibliography. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. If not, let me know and I'll try to clarify further. All right. So hello, Saju in France and Vicky in Ghana. Oh my goodness, Algeria and Poland. Oh, how lovely to meet you all, everyone. So exotic. Okay. Let's see, we have a question here from Anne. So hello from South Africa. Hi, Anne. I have used PDF SAM to condense materials. Do I submit a collated PDF or do I need to separate each worksheet, poster, et al.? So if it's materials, Anne, you can just put everything in one PDF. Okay, it's probably easier that way. Because as you know, I think that there is a limit of 10 files, I believe, that you can submit. So if you can put, for example, all of your images, your controlled practice worksheet, and your for your practice whatever task all in one materials PDF, that would be great. All of the other files, they need to be submitted as separate PDFs, like one PDF for the lesson plan, one PDF for teacher language, etc. Again, it will all be explained in the assignment instructions. All right, thank you, and good question. Okay, so hello, Alexia. In the assessment handbook, there's a reference to a referencing guide in Unit 5 alongside the first assignment, but I can't find it. Where is it, please? So if you go, Alexia, to where all of the assignment templates are, yeah, you know, there's usually like 8 or 10 templates all together in the assignment instruction page, you will find the document entitled Referencing Guide there. Okay, I promise it'll be there. So take a look, and if you can't find it, send a ticket to Tutor Support. Yeah, and we'll be able to send you a direct link, depending on what course you're doing with us at the moment. Okay, but yeah, have a look with the assignment templates and you will find it there. All right, thank you, Alexia. Okay, so hello, Michael in London. Good to see you. So hello, Alexia, again. You mentioned a model assignment. I can't find it. Again, Alexia, it's on the assignment instruction page. Could it be, I wonder, that you haven't reached Unit 5 yet? Because you won't be able to see all of this until you complete all of the end of unit tests for Units 1 to 4 and you have watched the assignment video. Okay, so it could be that you just haven't reached it yet. Okay, but it will be there. All of those things you're looking for are on the assignment instruction page. All right. Okay, Ashley, good. Glad I could help. So hello, it's good to see you again. Hello, when resubmitting, do I only resubmit the incorrect documents or all of them? Great question, Say. So you need to include all relevant documents for the assignment. Okay. So imagine you have to submit 5 documents for the entire assignment. Yeah. And imagine you had to amend 2 of those documents. So you would still send all 5 files. Yeah. So the 3 ones that you did originally that didn't need correcting and the 2 amended ones. So every time you resubmit, you need to send like a complete set of all of the required documents. Okay. If you only submit the ones that needed changing, your marker will get back to you and say, please include all of the files or all of the necessary files for the assignment. Okay. That's why I'd say it's really important that you keep track yourself of like naming your files so that if you need to resubmit, you change everything to submission 2. Yeah, just so you don't get confused and start sending old ones, new ones, combinations of everything. All right. So hope that helps. Great question. So Saju, do we need to create Plan B scenarios for each of the sections PPP? I'm not sure, Saju, what you mean here by Plan B. Do you mean backup activities? If so, typically no. You don't need to provide alternative tasks or alternative scenarios. Okay. Probably the only time I would include a backup task would be maybe for controlled practice and possibly for freer practice. And, I just put something like, if I have time, yeah, I will do this. Yeah. Or, if the activity finishes quicker than I expected, I will do this. Okay. But, you don't have to provide alternatives for everything. If you want to, great, but you don't have to. All right. Thank you, Saju. Nikki, is there a reference builder available? Well, as I said, Nikki, take a look at the referencing guide. That will help you a lot. The referencing guide that comes with all of the templates. I have a feeling there is a reference builder. I'm just going to Google it because I don't remember the exact address. Okay, so there is a website you can use. It's called citethisforme.com. Yeah, so all together, citethisforme.com. Okay. Or, you can find your own reference builder online if you want. But honestly, the easiest, quickest thing is just read the referencing guide that accompanies all the templates and write your references yourself. Okay, because it talks you through the entire process. All right, thank you, Nikki. So, hello, Dean from London. Good to see you. Okay, Alexia, I still can't see it. Okay, so Alexia, when the webinar is over, send a message to tutor support telling us what course you're on, what stage of the course you're at. Yeah, and we'll look into it for you. Okay, that's probably the easiest. Okay. So hello, Sherazard in South Africa. Good to see you. Okay. Zara, hi. Hello from Spain. Oh, lovely Spain, Zara. I lived there for many, many years. Say hello to the place for me. Let's take a look at your question. Can we use ChatGPT to create gap fill, open, close tasks and other ways to help us create your assignments? I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess you could if you wanted. We don't have any prejudice against ChatGPT. GDP. Oof, that's a different thing entirely. ChatGPT. I would say, Zara, that there are already a lot of materials out there when it comes to gap fill and open close tasks. So, you could use resources from EFL teaching websites. Okay, but yeah, sure, if you want to use it, you can use it. Yeah, just make sure that you reference everything accordingly. All right. Some really good websites that you can find resources on include Busy Teacher. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Busy Teacher. I'm just going to check if it's .com or .org because I can never remember. So busyteacher.org. Yeah, that can be really good for finding material. There's another one I really like called teachthis.com. Yeah, so teach-this.com. You can find lots of really good stuff there. All right, so thank you, Sarah. So, hi Judy, good to see you again. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Saju backup activities. Yeah, so as I said, you might want to include them for control practice and for your practice, but again, it's not necessary. All right, good. Okay, you're welcome, Nikki. So, hi, Ada. If we need to resubmit and only amend 2 files, the files that were not amended still need to be renamed submission 2. Yeah, Ada, preferably. Okay. Because if your marker sees a mix of submission 1 and submission 2 files, they may think that you've got confused between them, or, it might just sow a little seed of doubt. It's also easier for you, okay, just to rename everything submission 2. Okay, so thank you for the question. Okay. So, yeah, Alexa, good. Yeah, send your message and we'll sort you out for sure. Okay. So they seem to be all of our questions for the moment. We still have a couple of minutes though. We still have 10 minutes. So, keep those questions coming in. We'll be only too happy to help. In the meantime, I'm going to type those websites I gave you for EFL resources into the chat box. Teach this. And there's another one I really like called onestopenglish.com. I'll put that into. I know that there is definitely a trend towards all of these resource websites going premium, where you need to pay like a small membership every month. But even so, there should be still a good section of free stuff, besides all of the subscription stuff. So check them out. If you are looking for resources and you can't find anything on those websites, what I usually do is do a general Google search. So imagine I am teaching intermediate level. Yeah, I am teaching them the present perfect. And my class is made up of teenagers. Yeah, I will just put in a general Google search of intermediate, present perfect teenagers. Yeah. Send off the search into the ether and see what comes back. Okay. That's the best way of getting like relevant results back. Okay. Put the level, put the grammar point or the vocabulary point and the age group you're teaching. Okay. You can find lots of really interesting stuff that way. All right. Good. Okay, let's have a look, Alexia. On another point, online PPP lesson plan already has lesson aims and 2 objectives, as well as anticipated problems and solutions. Oh, okay, so Alexia, you're doing level 3, clearly. You're doing the level 3 assignment. Yeah, that's fine, Alexia. That's, if they're already provided, you can leave them as they are. Yeah, that's not a problem. Okay, good. Okay. So let's see, do we have any other questions? Let's go back and have a look, make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, I think we have answered all of those. Okay. So while we're waiting for some final questions to come in, let me just give you my best advice for all of your assignments. Okay, it's probably stuff I've said before, but I'll condense it now to the really important stuff in my mind. So firstly, just make sure that you read and understand all of the instructions thoroughly. Okay, if there's anything in the instructions you don't understand, contact us in tutor support. Secondly, create that folder on your computer. Okay, download all of the templates. Yeah, keep everything in the one place. Any work you do, keep it in that folder. Yeah. Honestly, organization is the most important thing. Okay. Thirdly, try not to let it overwhelm you. Okay, do your research. Yeah. Anything you're not sure about, send us a message to tutor support. Okay. Fourthly, I would say before you submit your assignment, read through the checklist, make sure you have everything there. But if you do submit something by accident, send us a message to tutor support and we will reverse your submission. Okay. Everything is fixable. Okay. Don't panic. Everything is very, very fixable. Same thing. If you need to resubmit, please don't worry. You have 2 chances to resubmit. Yeah, your tutor will give you lots of helpful feedback. Okay, and again, anything you don't understand, get in touch with tutor support. All right. Really, research and preparation is absolutely key. Okay, do not start planning your assignment until you understand exactly what it is you need to teach. Okay. In terms of how long the assignments take, well, how long is a piece of string really? Some students feel like they spend so much time on assignments. Other students feel like maybe they should be spending more. Okay. Genuinely, there is no real rule on this. Okay. Everybody spends as long as they need to spend. Okay. Some students can do an assignment really quickly. But as long as they're, hitting all of the criteria and including all of the information, that is not necessarily a bad thing. Similarly, other students might take longer, but again, that's okay. Everybody works at their own speed. Don't worry about how it takes as long as it takes. Okay, so don't stress out about how long it's taking or not taking. All right. So we have another question from Say. If I resubmit only the incorrect documents by mistake, or I don't actually know that I should submit them all, will that be considered the next attempt or not? No, Say, your marker will just chalk that down to an error. Okay, it won't count as an actual submission. Okay, you're only the submissions where full sets of files are attached count. Now, I know in the online platform, it might say that something is your third attempt or fourth attempt, like if you've made some, mistaken submissions. Don't worry about that. Your marker will keep track. Okay. Your marker knows exactly how many real attempts you have had. All right. Thank you, Tseg. Okay. So hello, Sherazard. I hope I'm saying your name properly. It's a beautiful name. What would happen if you don't pass on both submissions? Well, Sherazard, that's a case of crossing that bridge if you come to it. Okay. Really, you have 3 opportunities, right? You have your first submission, and then you have 2 further resubmissions, which means you have 3 attempts in total. And I would say that it is very unusual not to pass. Yeah, because as I said, your tutor gives you so much guidance and support along the way. So it would be very unusual not to pass. So don't stress out about it. Okay, it's something that you will, in all likelihood, not have to contend with. Okay, between your tutor feedback and the help you can get from tutor support, I'm confident that we can get you across the line. All right. Thank you, Sherazard. So Saju, let's take a look. If you resubmit, will you have the same marker? Yes, absolutely. That is because it is just much easier to have the same marker because they already know what you've done. Yeah. Whereas if you switched markers, the other person would be starting from 0. They'd have to go back, look at all your files. It would just become a bit confusing. So it will always go back to the same marker. Okay. Now, you may not have the same marker for all of the assignments. Yeah. You might, but you might not. Yeah. But within a particular assignment, it will be the same marker. All right. Good. Thank you, Saiju. Okay. Sherazard and Anne, excellent. No panic. Yeah, no need for panic. We are super zen. Yeah, everything is fixable, as I said. It's just a matter of reaching out for help. Okay. In tutor support, we are only too happy. We are ready and waiting to help you with anything you need assistance with. Okay. So it looks like our time is up. Oh my goodness, that went so quickly. I hope you all found our time together beneficial. Okay, just keep calm and carry on. I have every faith in you all. If you need help, just give us a shout in tutor support. All right, so just to finish, everyone, I am going to give you the link to an end of webinar survey. Yeah, it'd be super helpful if you could fill it out and, just give us an idea of how we're doing. We're always looking to improve, so your feedback is gratefully accepted. I leave the code on the screen for 30 seconds and then I'll sign out. All right. Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It was really lovely to see you all, and hopefully we see each other again soon. All right, bye-bye.